So in this video, we're going to see how to tune this stunning SR71 Blackbird from E-flite on a Radiomaster TX16S. This device, already equipped and pre-tuned, only requires a long-range spectrum radio with at least 5 channels and a suitable battery to be able to fly. The battery connection is Spectrum IC3, which also works with EC3, and I'm using a 2200 mAh 30C battery with an EC3 connector. The recommended radio is the Spectrum NX8, as the entire receiving and control system of the jet is from Spectrum. For those who don't have this radio, or a higher version, and have a Radiomaster TX16S, which is a multi-protocol radio, it's possible, through a bit of special configuring, to use it to pilot this SR71. So the Radiomaster TX16S clearly does not allow switching from safe mode to AS3X mode, and vice versa, which this SR71 has. Only one of these two modes can be used, and I've opted for safe mode, which limits the range of motion for flying with less risk. The AS3X mode being similar to manual mode. So here is my OpenTX version from 2021. If you have an earlier version, you might need to check for updates. So we'll start by creating a model. You really need to follow all the steps exactly. Otherwise, you could end up with a completely uncontrollable device. Here we validate the plane. There, we confirm the motorization on CH3. There are 2 ailerons with A on CH5 and B on CH1. Here we validate no. Then a channel for the elevator on CH2 and one for the rudder on CH4. In reality, there is no rudder on this device. It's actually the wheel that we set to directional. And we confirm to save the model. The model is now created, and we exit the menu. Here in the mixer, this is what should display. In the outputs, we reverse the direction of CH4, then 90 and 2001 on CH5. It's super important. Now in the inputs for the elevator, we are going to record 3 movements, but one would suffice. First movement. Second. And third movement. Attention, this is super important. We need to ensure not exceeding 78%. I left a safety margin of a few units, and exceeding that could lead to a fatal crash. For the ailerons, 3 movements as well. One would suffice, of course. First movement. Second. And third movement. Again, super important not to exceed 87% and not to vary the 15% offset. Once more, I made sure to leave a safety margin of a few units. Then also 3 throttle settings. The first curve functions as a lock for the throttle at rest. The second curve for demonstration on Willow, and the third curve for flying, which I created in 9 points using the curve generator. Flying this SR71 will be more enjoyable and less risky with this type of curve. Here we are in the curve menu. And here we are in editing. and we already have the coordinates for the first 5 points. And here's the rest for one curve. Thus, a total of 9 points. So here's all the settings for the inputs. Now we need to link the remote control to our SR71 Blackbird. For that, on the mode line, we select Multi-DSM X2F. There's nothing else that works. Then we connect the battery. And there, we see the 2 LEDs of the receiver are in pairing mode. So, we're going to pair our TX16S radio with the device. We go to the receiving line, and we click on Bind. And there's the red and blue LED fix. The radio is connected to the device. With the device in motion, it is very, very important that the red and blue LED remains fixed. If not, we'll need to revise the settings because it would mean certain crash. Now the device is powered on and flat. We check the alignment of the control surfaces. Normally, everything should be okay. If not, adjustments will need to be made to the linkage. So, when we are in mode 1, we have the following responses. And here we have the direction acting only on the front wheels of the device. Now we're also going to see this in mode 2. Then we're going to install the rudders. There are also some red ones included with the device for better visibility of the Bove monkey and overall test in mode. And the number of turbine revolutions for its RPM. We need to set the multiplier for this parameter to 4, since we are using a 4S battery. So as far as I'm concerned, I chose to display the voltage of each battery cell, which has 4 cells, then the number of turbine revolutions. And I also display a 3-minute timer that I start when I throttle up. So there you go after adjusting the balance, which may depend a bit on our flight type preferences. The device is thus ready to fly. I adjusted the balance further back to more easily admire the device in flight rather than see, pass a ball or a rifle. So you need to launch the device energetically as it requires quite a bit of speed to stay aloft. The flight controller detects the launch and automatically enters takeoff mode by manipulating the elevator. Once the device reaches a certain speed, it becomes more stable. In any case, once the device is launched, you must quickly take control to adjust the elevator if needed. It's a real speedster that can reach several hundred meters in no time. If there were to be a loss of transmission, the device would automatically land for safety. But while flying in a curve, you can keep it within about 100 meters. So, with a rearward balance, we can easily cut the throttle when facing the wind without the risk of stalling. The device is stable and precise enough to do low passes. The key is not to drop below a certain speed, which is also relative to the wind when there is any. So, if we don't have a runway for a wheeled landing, I strongly advise putting the device in a low hover before letting it land in the grass. Here, wheat. Thus the device emerges with 0 scratches. Hey, what joy.